What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another review for Monday Night Raw. This one is from June 6th, 1994. So we're going to get right into it. Raw begins with a shot of the Lumberjacks making their way to the ring for the match between Tatanka and Crush, a rematch from last week where they both got counted out, and this will still be to see who qualifies for the King of the Ring tournament. This is the last spot available. Crush gets a cheap shot on Tatanka while he had his back turned, and all the Lumberjacks get in the ring and on the apron, but they all come down quickly and the match begins. Both guys take turns on offense, and both guys make it to the outside where each of them get tossed back by the Lumberjacks. And on the heel side, according to Vince, one of them actually got a sucker punch to the kidney of Tatanka. During the match, I was looking around the ring, and most of the guys aren't in the WWE anymore by 2003. And the reason I point that out is because now there's a ton of guys still in the WWE from 10 years ago. So it was kind of weird to see that. People just didn't last as long as they do now. And part of it probably has to do with the fact that Vince just pays anybody now to stay there so they don't go elsewhere. But you gotta take a look at the guys from today. And as shit as the current WWE product is in terms of storylines and all that, the roster itself, it's probably gotta be one of the best in terms of athleticism and just how healthy these guys can stay. But anyways, moving on from that, Tatanka then again turns his eyes to IRS on the outside, which gets Crush to hit him from behind. And also the whole match, Crush was just putting Tatanka in rest holds, and there were two commercial breaks during this one too. After one of the commercials, Crush was tied up in the ropes, but is able to get out of it and goes to Bret Hart's rope to drop an elbow. He goes for the cover, but Earl Hebner was doing some other shit because he comes in really late, so Tatanka just kicks out before Hebner even gets down for the count. Tatanka is sent to the outside, and Yokozuna starts beating the hell out of him, and the faces try to help, but Bigelow and Racer start another fight. Both of those guys had been at it for the whole match, and they are facing each other in the first round of the tournament, so that explains why. But they're standing like 3 feet away from each other the whole time, which made no sense. They hate each other, but only when they look in each other's direction. So I thought I'd point that out because it was really funny to watch. Then when Crush gets sent to the outside, he is able to fight his way through them instead of getting back in the ring. So Lex Luger runs out and nails him with his forearm and sends him back in. The referee starts to count them out, and I thought this was going to be another draw, but Tatanka able to crawl over Crush and covers him for the win. So Tatanka qualifies and the tournament bracket is now set. The first round will have IRS versus Mabel, Racer versus Bam Bam Bigelow, the 1-2-3 Kid versus Jeff Jarrett, and Owen Hart will face Tatanka. All the rounds will happen at the pay-per-view, so it's not just going to be the semis and finals like I thought it was going to be. Every single one of these rounds is going to be at the pay-per-view. So not only is it a good thing, but it's also going to be like a bad thing because all of these matches are probably not going to get the proper time that they deserve. Like if 1-2-3 Kid gets to the next round of face Owen Hart, that's probably going to be a quick match instead of being like 10 minutes. And it's also the second round, so you wouldn't expect it to go more than 10 minutes, but still. Or like if Racer gets to the final against Jeff Jarrett, like they should be able to put on a 15-minute finals match, but if it does get to the end between both of them, it will probably go like 7 minutes. But the good thing about it is that you'll get to see whoever eventually wins it make it from the first round all the way to the end, so it's going to be all worth it at the end of it, I think. And then speaking of the pay-per-view itself, Bret Hart mad about what happened last week, and he cuts a promo telling Diesel that he isn't champion material because he needed Lawler and HBK to help beat him up, and that Diesel will never outperform or outrun a Porsche. Bret Hart a Porsche? Sure, whatever. Also, we get another promo from Piper, who says that he will gladly be in Bret's corner if Shawn Michaels accompanies Diesel at the pay-per-view. He also talks to Lawler, trying to build more interest in their upcoming match. So next up, Bam Bam Bigelow comes back out and picks up a win on a jobber, continuing his momentum into the tournament. Another King's Court, which I hope is done for a while after the match with Piper. This whole segment was just placed on the show to get to his match. The King introduces his guest, who had been teased as Roddy Piper himself, but instead it's a Piper cosplayer who walks out. Both guys just trash Roddy the whole time. They talk about his movies that don't do well, make fun of the kilt and all that good stuff. The fake Piper tells Jerry Lawler that he wants to back out of the match, so he kisses his feet and Lawler makes him crawl out of the ring. And I would like to say that I'm looking forward to the match because Roddy Piper is making his return, but there's no way that a heel WWF Lawler match can be any good, right? It's going to be, like I think I said this before, it's going to be nothing but punches and kicks. I don't know, I'll let you guys know what I think of it after the match, after I watch it. So then after that, we have Razor Ramon versus a jobber, and it looked like it was a young Jeff Hardy. I think Matt Hardy was out there one of these weeks as well. This jobber's name was Keith Davis, so he wasn't known as Jeff yet. I've heard for years about this match, but I've never really actually seen it. Not really much though, as Razor Ramon had control the whole time, and he ends the match with the Razor's Edge. So Jeff Hardy making his debut on Monday Night Raw here. Next up, we see Paul Bearer responding to Ted DiBiase's claims that he bought and now controls The Undertaker, but by saying that this is not true. So DiBiase makes his way down to commentary and it says that he will produce The Undertaker on WWF Superstars. It looks like everyone does have a price for the $1 Million Man, even The Undertaker. Back then, we didn't know how true those words were. Now, all I gotta say is Saudi money. Moving on to the awards, the best moment I had the King of the Ring update. Usually I don't watch this, but I left it playing while I was typing the notes for this show, and they really do provide some extra pieces to matches on this segment, including those promos that I mentioned. For the worst moment, Tatanka and Crush's match going like 20 minutes, that was way too long. For the weakest performer, I had Crush. I realized that Crush and Lex Luger look to be having a match against each other, and they're the two most boring wrestlers on the show. So I can't wait to put that on while I'm trying to fall asleep. For the standout performer, I'm going to give it to Razor Ramon. So it was a good night all around for Razor Ramon. I'm going to give this episode a good grade. I might be giving it too much credit, but they kept it moving. Also, this was the last Raw before the pay-per-view, so I'm going to give it a huge pass because the star power again wasn't that present on this show. But the opening match had a decisive outcome. The King of the Ring update had the guys that weren't wrestling but were in marquee matches cut promos. Bam Bam Bigelow and Razor Ramon got wins to take that momentum to the King of the Ring, and Ted DiBiase with the whole Undertaker stuff, advancing it already instead of making us wait weeks or months to see what he's talking about. Again, a letdown go home show, but I've gotten used to it, so no sense in complaining too much about it now. With all that being said, I'm out. I'll catch you guys after the King of the Ring pay-per-view. So now if you're still here, I'm going to let this be known. The King of the Ring is going to be the midway point of these reviews. So again, I'm going to be taking a break from doing these. I'm just going to wait out a little bit. So as long as it took me to upload this set, it's going to take me as long, if not a little bit longer, to release the next set, which is going to be the Raw after the King of the Ring, which I don't think it was the night right after, but whatever. You guys understand what I'm saying, right? It's just going to be whatever Raw was after the King of the Ring pay-per-view, all the way. We're going to take it all the way to the end of the year. So whatever show that is in December, and then I'm going to take another break after that. So yeah, until the next review drops, which is going to be in a couple weeks, couple months probably, I'm out. I'll catch you guys on that one. And I'm also doing some other stuff on the channel, so whenever I do drop a video, if you want, just subscribe and it'll obviously notify you. If you've been doing this YouTube stuff for a while, you should know how that all that stuff works, so I'm not really going to repeat it. But yeah, anyways, I'm out.